supporters here and all over the world. Tell them we are ready. Labour Party supporters here and all over the world. Tell them we are ready. Supporters here and all over the world. Tell them we are ready.
Everybody show me something. Something.
To all Labour Party supporters here and all over the world, tell them we are ready.
You are hearing us live, and you can also follow us by the live stream on htsstlucia.org, that's htsstlucia.org, and also on slptvnow.com. I'm Shelton Daniel, and my co-host, as last time, is Crystal Lucian. Crystal, good evening to you, and I also want to join in welcoming you to this live broadcast of the launch of Gibeon Ferdinand.
Thank you very much, Shelton. Good evening, St. Lucia. Good evening, Labour Party supporters. Good evening, everybody who's listening to this broadcast. And we do hope that we will bring you everything that you hope for from this program this evening.
From a little scare earlier on with the weather, overcast conditions, like us, the chairman of the St. Lucia Labour Party with us. Let me say good evening also and welcome Claudius J. Francis.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me here. I look forward to what is expected to be a superb launching of our special weapon, Gibeon Ferdinand, better known as Gibo. It's Team Gibo.
A renewed confidence that the Labour Party can and will pull it off. And from everything that I'm gathering, it is a constituency that the Labour Party sees as a special prize among all of the prizes.
Well, if you look at historically, when a party leader loses his or her seat, that party is decimated at the polls. So you look at 1997, when then party leader Juan Lewis, also the Prime Minister, lost his seat. It was a 16-1 rout. You go over in Grenada, when Tillman Thomas lost his seat, it's a 15-0 rout. So generally when a leader of a party loses his seat or does not get the seat, it's a rout on that party. So it's very important, Mico South, in that regard. You cut the head off, everything else falls down. So now, you look at the history of the seat, you say we have only won it once. That is true. But in strongholds like Mico South, the Labour Party has consistently made certain errors, as they did in Castries Central under George Mallet, where there was never a losing candidate who repeated as a candidate. So it was a new person coming up each time and each time. In this instance, in 1997, we won the seat with Castellanos. This seat, you have to go back a long way to see when this seat had two new candidates at the same time. It's a long time. It's, 97, when Cass won, it wasn't new. When Aston won, he ran against Cass, so Cass was not new. And now Aston has been there. So this is the first time for a long time that there are actually two new candidates. So we believe that Gibo has an excellent chance. As much as we thought Gibo was a special weapon, he surprised even us. The ease with which he's able to communicate both in English and Creole, that he reminds me of a long-time politician called J.M. Dibuski.
Claudius, there just seems to be so much buzz about the man Gibo. I mean, it doesn't seem to be contrived. It doesn't seem to be a hype that the Labour Party injected into him and into the constituency. That aura, it seems, which surrounds him, not just in this constituency of Mico South, but it appears to have spread remarkably far and wide beyond the borders of Mico South.
Well, what makes Gibo an even more attractive candidate is that if you do a poll in Mico South, it is said that if 16-year-olds could vote, that Gibo would win the seat by 1,000 votes. He's been one of the most popular principals that this part of the island has had. A young principal, a charismatic individual, married with children, he also is a brilliant.
I'd like to ask you about the party and the party's readiness. It is 2 days before the general elections of 2016. And how do you feel as chairman of the St. Lucia Labour Party?
Oh, extremely confident. Extremely confident. We believe that we are going to form the government. We believe we are going to have an increase in the number of seats. We are very happy about where we are at the moment. We have done all of the groundwork, and Sheldon in his earlier remarks spoke about no activities tomorrow. We learned our lessons in 2006, where fatigue struck in, where we didn't do the last minute. Is more pumped up this year than he was even in 2011. You look at the energy and organization that an Ernest Hilaire has brought to an already organized party. You look at the calmness of a Joachim Henry. You look at where would you go again? You look at the victory in ancillary canneries, a man of the people. And let me give you some history in terms of victory, why we are even more confident. If you go back to the history of the ancillary cannery seat, all the way, Sheldon, back to 1954, that seat has fluctuated and people have won by very narrow margins. Since independence, nobody has won by more than 260 votes. Up comes 1997, Cyprian Lansico. He shifts the bar altogether from 250 to over 1,200 votes. In 2001, when Labour moved from 16-1 to 14-3, Cyprian was one of the few candidates who maintained this massive lead. He won by another 1,000, hence the nickname 1,000. What is different about Cyprian? Cyprian is the first candidate from Canneries. What's different about Victory? So too from Canneries, and he has that on lockdown. Ancillary, he has that on lockdown as well. So we expect, unlike the Mondesi, just over 250, the PEP over 250, we expect Victory not just to be victorious, but massively so.
Actually, Mondesi won it by less than 100 votes in 2006, if I remember well. He won it by about 90 votes. Yes, if I remember well, Mondesi and Rufus won it by less than 100. But I understand your point.
It has never been won by. In fact, when Regis won it for us, it was about 6 votes.
Yes, indeed. In the 2 elections of 1987. Go ahead, Crystal.
My other question to you is, it is no easy feat preparing a manifesto such as this. This is your last plea to St. Lucians. This is maybe the last time you'll be speaking to St. Lucia. What would you say to them to convince them at this point that the St. Lucia Labour Party is the party that has the best interests of the country at heart?
Well, there were times previously when people were saying manifestos are just pie in the sky things. You put that in the manifesto to fool people. Well, we go to 2011, and if it were a CXC exam, the Labour Party would get a distinction in terms of what it promised and what it delivered. And there's one thing the opposition keeps harping about. Up to yesterday, when the Prime Minister was on a particular radio station, they kept harping about 100 million. I can bring clips in Parliament where even the leader of the opposition, Gail Rigobert, admits the $100 million was pumped into the economy for jobs. And they talk about where the jobs. The reality is the jobs did come. And if those jobs did not come, the continued rise of unemployment that we inherited under the United Workers' Party, it wouldn't have been 25% last year, it would have been 30%. It was because of the jobs created that it remained steady at 24.5 and decreased in the last quarter of last year to 20%. About the collective of the Labour Party, who has stood behind Kenny Anthony, who has had a stable government for the last 5 years. In fact, so stable as Kenny Anthony being, Kenny Anthony remarkably has never had a willing cabinet reshuffle. There was a reshuffle in the second term between 2001 and 2006, but that was a forced reshuffle as a result of the Sarah Flood movement and the Walter Francois resignation. But he has been a steady hand, a calm head, and we have benefited from that.
As we might expect, Claudius, in the last few days of this election campaign, things have been hurled at the Labour Party in the hope perhaps of seeing whether they could cause it to balk or stumble. one of them has been some polling that has been done. Some have called it a push poll, and it's been discussed extensively about where a conflict arises between someone who is a pollster and is also a political strategist for the very same organization. The Labour Party seems to have pushed back remarkably well against that poll. Can you tell us about the whole attempt to use polls to influence maybe thinking or perception in this election?
You know, Shelton, while you were speaking and making the analogy, I was thinking, well, Shelton is speaking there on Tennyson Joseph for an article he had written of you talk about Chastney losing when you were a candidate who lost. Completely missing the point that Tennyson Joseph lost as a candidate. Chastney is the leader of the United Workers' Party. He's the one asking you to not just trust me as a candidate, trust me as a potential prime minister. So the two are not even on par. So when you read that article on Sunday, I shared that article of Kenny Anthony, Jimmy Fletcher and a few others. So we were not surprised by Peter Wickham's push on Monday. But let me tell you what happened because we responded. The plan was for Peter predicted